Hello, it's Morris here, and today is a very exciting day because it is the start of Season 2 of Axie Infinity Origins. And that is a pretty big patch, I must say, patch in terms of just the patch notes and stuff. So let's just get right into it. And of course, there are actually quite a few things that I haven't covered, which was released the previous days as well. So yeah, let's just look what has changed. First of all, Season 2 lasts 42 days, and there are eras. So this is a very exciting system, which I'll go into quite a bit. And basically, that just means maybe about every week or so, then they will actually have like a leaderboard thing where then they will give us certain AXS rewards. So yeah, I'll get into that in a bit. And also, there's a daily login, which is pretty good, right? So just get some resources, which is I think good change and incentivize people to just log in and at least play. Also, do note that I think a while ago they've changed the what do you call it? The system where if you don't play for a while, then the decay system, yes. So that one where I think if you don't play for a day, then you actually start dropping. Of course, that's only applies to people at the challenger or I think dragon as well. So yeah, I think that basically means that everyone kind of has to play every day, at least one game. Yeah, so that is quite a big change as well. So do remember to play at least one game every day if you don't want to get the decay. And let's just go into this particular patch notes, and there's quite a lot. First of all is talk about this reward system, and they have different eras now, and you can see that the first 7 days, so by day 7, at the end of day 7 I would assume, then is the end of the first era. And I think they call it the rare era because you can only use the rare and the rare charms and runes. And then you have the second era, which I think lasts for a bit longer, and the rewards a bit longer as well. And this is, I think, the epic era, so you don't have any mystics. Then you have the mystics, which is days 21 and 28, so that's about 15% of the reward. So this is the total reward for the whole season, and they kind of split it up so that, like, I think that's a good thing because then you have some incentive to actually fight. In this case, it's in a way like 4 tiny seasons in one season, so I quite like it because then, okay, let's say I want to fight for this and day 7, and then I want to fight for this for day 21, so there's more of a reason to play in a way. And more reason to basically fight for the top spots. So that's pretty fun. And yeah, I think finally, this is of course the final, and by day 42, that is basically the end of the season reward, which is the biggest. And one thing that to note is that they actually haven't said anything about not making any changes mid-season. So I would assume, right, based on like I say this era, like where they will see all the mystics, runes, and charms already, then they might already make some adjustment because maybe there are some broken builds or something, and then going into this, there could be a slightly different meta just because they probably can make changes because I don't think they've said anything about not making changes. So there's the rewards. So top 40,000 will get some AXS reward, which is I'll say not bad. So some people actually compared the I guess the rewards from this season to last season, and it's in a way less top heavy, especially for the first spot. Obviously, it doesn't really quite affect me just because I'll never fight for those top spots as casual players. I don't think there's that much of a change, but I think it is a good change for casual player where now we have more reasons to fight for rewards every few days or every week or so, or 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 week and 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, I think it's pretty exciting because at some point, right, I think I remember last season where it was just so long that okay, like once you get to a particular build, particular spot, then you kind of like lose the incentive to play. But now, because there actually, I can imagine 4 different metas coming up, right, or at least 3 because there are 3 different eras with different rules. So yeah, I think they will be give us more opportunity to think about, okay, maybe with these runes then I can use these axes which will perform the best, but then the different era access of different runes and charms, and you might use a different sets of axes, different strategies and so on. So yeah, I think it could be definitely a good change. Okay, let's just look at so this is them going through the rare era, epic era, mystic era, and the final era. And there's also a bit of a change. I think I already talked about these in the previous video. Basically, the potential point system has changed. Then the neutral charm can be equipped with the mixed potential points, which I think is very good. Energy burst, Blood Moon, base HP. Now the games are a bit longer, is because base HP is a bit higher. And then there's the return as opposed to keep. The return changed to keep, so I think it's definitely better. It's because now you can actually keep it, especially like retain, as opposed to needing to draw it next turn. The limit has changed. That's a very small thing, but you can still play cards. It just doesn't have the extra effects, I think. And the minting cost will go into it as well. So there's another document to talk about this. Which I think I already explained in the previous video, so I won't go through it here. Do check out the previous video if you haven't checked that out. So let's just see what else. So the level up system has also changed, which I quite like as well. But I don't think I'll go through like every single thing. But so in a way it's still like these tiers, but now I think the rewards has changed or something, right? I'm not gonna go through these in detail. And then I'll probably make another video to talk about this new event which started today, and basically it only lasts for a week, so quite exciting in the sense that now, last time we have the plant one and now we have the bug one, but there is a bit of a significant change, but I'll go through it in another video. Okay, and the next one is the login bonus, which you just basically need to log in and you'll get it. So why not, just log in. Especially if you can download it on your phone, then you can just like open it and then just get it every day. And then the avatar and the borders, which is actually probably pretty exciting. Okay, let me see. This one I actually haven't read too much, and it says top, interestingly, 1,300 players. So the top 1,300 players will get the trophy avatar. And then the top 20,000 gets this the different avatar. Okay, so I think there is an incentive to fight for top 1,300 then. So because then you'll get the cosmetic, and also get these cosmetics as well. So that's pretty good. Okay, so a few things that they actually haven't gone through in this kind of patch note is actually the actual patch note that you can find on Discord. Before I get into it, I will just quickly scroll through and catch up on some news. There are some other news, like get some new art on the marketplace, which is not bad. Invitational, which haven't really watched it yet, but I'm pretty sure you'll get some ideas of how to get the rare and what are the rare or the epic kind of strategies for different eras. And then the gifts. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll through this very quickly. And then I wanted to talk about another one. So the accessories one as well. So now it's literally out and you can put it on your Axie, so that's pretty fun. And then let me see what else is there. Okay, and then there's the patch note that I've covered in the previous video. So let's actually go right into the the changes. Okay, so there are actually two different changes that happen, or rather like two different patches in terms of changes. One is on the 6th of January, and I think there's quite a big change in terms of the feather. So because they changed it from 1 hit to 2 hit, and now they are changing it back to, I think, increasing the bonus damage by per 1 hit as opposed to every 2 hits. So which actually makes bird or like feather pretty strong, I would say, and it's probably overpowered, and you'll see in a later change that they put a cap on it. So now feather increases bonus damage every hit, so that's actually a pretty big change. And then there are some cards that adjust the value. I'm not going to go through them. It's just a small numerical change. And then paralyzing jellyfish, I think it's an interesting one, but I think probably because they feel like the jinx mechanic is a bit too strong, and so they have the base stat -10. So I guess it's a good thing in a way. Maybe they just feel that it's a bit too strong. But I think the biggest one, actually, I highlighted with the red arrow, right? The biggest change is, of course, the feather one, and also Shady Exchange, because Shady Exchange, I think I mentioned when I covered this rune, it's just basically, it's a must-have back then. But now I think it's fairer, and especially for a neutral rune, right? It shouldn't really be that strong, just because you can put it on any Axie. And now what it says is solo until round 3. When your turn ends, lose up to 3 energy fragments. So basically, you're gonna lose energy fragment every round for basically I think 2 rounds, or probably 3 rounds. Yeah, 3 rounds. And then it's only after round 3, when your turn starts, gain 3 fragments. I assume they meant energy fragments, but I guess they couldn't fit it in. So basically, for 3 rounds, you actually lose energy fragments and then you start to ramp. So I think it's definitely fairer, because otherwise you just ramp up way too quickly compared to the opponent. So now at least there's, like, if the game drags on, you do get a bit of bonus, but you don't really actually get to ramp as quickly as accelerate as much as before. So that's pretty good. I think it's a good change. Now it's fairer, but still give you a bit of advantage, especially if the game drags on. Okay, next then, there are some changes, especially with the plants ones. That's because I think plants has been quite underwhelming, especially with the sleep mechanic. So there's basically some changes so min changed from 30 to 40, which is pretty good because now it kind of is the same as other AoE shield. So, and Rosa now I think it's changed is pretty good because normally you just hit normal targeting, meaning hitting the front or something, and now those random hit, and that just means you have a chance to hit the back or the mid as opposed to the front. So you can like play Rosa, then put the opponent to sleep, hopefully the back or the mid, then you can continue hitting the front. So that's, I guess, definitely quite a big buff, but still I don't think it's that strong. If you want more like reliable kind of sleep, you probably just want to use a tiny turtle or something. Mainly because Rosa actually has banish as well. If you use the initial, then it got banished, so you can only use it once. Whereas tiny turtle, you can use it like over and over again. So yeah, but still I think they did definitely buff the sleep mechanic because okay, before I get into that, Lotus changed from 2 to 3 curse card, which I think is definitely better. I think now it kind of makes an impact, is because before 2, opponent can put like 6 or something per deck rotation, and if you only have 1 Lotus, you're removing 2 is not that much. I think 3 definitely is quite a bit stronger, and I think it could be quite a good tech card now against curse build. Or even like remove curse card that you yourself put into your own deck. So I think could be quite good. I think Potato Leaf, well, I thought it's strong, but I guess it's not strong enough, and now it applies sleeps for 3 turns, and I think that is going to be strong. Because 3 turns basically for the opponents, let's say the opponent hit into you, then they put to sleep. Let's say, okay, usually what happens is that, okay, they just use another Axie's card or something, right? But now, for 3 turns, meaning the next round, the opponent is going to still be asleep, which is going to be, very annoying for the opponent. So I think this is a very good change, and it might see the Potato Leaf get played quite a bit more, I would say. And together with that, I think they all changed the Herbivore and the Watermelon to 3 turns as well, I think. So that just means, you just basically put an opponent asleep for at least next round. But yeah, actually for this one, 3 turn, because you are using a card, right? So in a way, it's just gonna be 1 round per the opponent still. So but I assume these stacks as well, so I don't know, maybe they stack or maybe they don't. I don't really quite know. If they stack, then that could be pretty strong, so you're basically gonna put opponent to sleep for quite a while. But of course, opponents just need 1 card to wake up regardless of, I guess, the turn stacks. And then there is the change with the Tricky. Now I can just target any ally whenever, so meaning it doesn't matter. It's like before, I think if you use initial, you can't target any ally, but now you can. It's a very small change, I would say. And Tiny Turtle, I think, they kind of anticipated this change of sleep could be a bit strong, and so they tuned it down a bit, but it's still just 5 damage, not such a big deal. Okay, and then there's the changes of the charms. First of all, it's Feather Fan now just give 1 as opposed to 2. Yeah, which I feel is fairer as well, is because now I guess they feel the bird is a bit too strong, and especially like getting feather is just too easy. and every turn, every round, you only lose one feather by attacking. So it's like the feather is really just gonna be there forever kind of thing, right? So now at least they kind of make it such that it's hard to get feather, which just means the opponent might lose the feather and lose their stacks, the damage bonus stacks, easier. So I think it's a good change. And then White Sage, I think they just basically added this as a neutral rune, I think. So it cleanses, but minus 20%, which of course is worse than, or a lot worse than the plant one, right, where it adds cleanse, but I think also adds 10%. Of course, this is a neutral one, so you can put it on any healing or shield card. So I'll say, okay, good option. And okay, in terms of the mechanics, the biggest change is I feel like feather, because before I think, well, when it doesn't have any cap, then it can go to insane damage, but now 20, to be honest, is a fair number in the sense that it's still pretty good, but then it's not kind of game breaking. So I feel like it's a healthy change, I would say. And then cleanse, actually, in a way, I should put an arrow here as well, because I feel like this is quite a big change as well. So 4 turns instead of 3 now, which just means, let's say if you put cleanse on yourself, or I put a cleanser on yourself, and then like let's say you play a tiny turtle, then kind of negates that already, whereas before I think it was the other way around or something, like you can't really even use it to negate your tiny turtle because it was like 4 rounds or something. Now it's 3 rounds, but of course this also removes 4 turns, so I think that's pretty good. I have 3 rounds. That means 3 turns and 4 turns. But yeah, so now I think removing 4 stacks and 4 turns definitely a lot stronger. Even maybe significant for poison build as well, is because one stack could be quite significant if you cleanse multiple times as well. But I would say maybe still not the biggest of change. I think the final one is probably the biggest, because now the bonus, or they call it flat bonus damage from buffs like feather, rage, bubble bomb. I think about cuckoo is the flat damage bonus, but I guess it is. And then leaf with the miracle leaf rune, and then the story fighter. All these are now applied after the percentage damage modifier. Wow. So I must say I didn't know how it works before, but I assumed before it was like, you add the bonus damage, and then let's say you are using a Ronin or something, right? Then you add the bonus damage first, and then do the percentage modifier, which of course scales quite a lot. But now it basically doesn't really scale. So in a sense that, okay, let's say it increases the bonus by 100%, right? But now instead of doubling the flat bonus damage, you don't get the doubling. So I think that's actually pretty significant. So it tuned down all these the power level of all these quite a bit, but of course I think it was a bit game breaking, to be honest. Like if these stacks with the bonus percentage bonus, is because then certain combinations or certain cards will be very good with these buffs. So now they kind of just remove that part, which I think is fair, just because then it gives more cards, or rather it gives fewer cards the brokenness of the if you see what I mean, right? So fewer cards will be broken in that sense, right? So that just means other cards have an opportunity to be used as well. That's how I see it. So I think fair change. And that is pretty much it, and I quite like it. I'm just thinking, okay, I'm just gonna give some final thoughts about season 2 in general, because I can see this game can go on for quite a bit, right? In different seasons there'll be different things, and part of the changes now is of course is fine-tuning power levels. And I can see that there are some people who say, oh yeah, this game's not so balanced at this moment, which is fair. I mean, there's always some strategies that are better than others, and that applies to other games as well, I feel. But over time, hopefully they will now have a good base to work on, meaning, okay, now this is the current state of the game, and they're just trying to make some small tiny adjustments, so that then they tune down the power level of some and tune up the power level of others, such that it doesn't change the game too much in terms of the mechanics, but maybe they can make it fairer, or more more balanced over time. But of course, in the long run, right? Now it's season 2, and let's say season 3, right? Of course, we don't want to see exactly the same thing again, so something has to change, and I assume that's why they implemented the runes and charms, so that let's say different seasons they might introduce new runes and charms, so that then it'll be something fresh, even though maybe the cards might be the same, but because of different runes and charms, then like the dynamic could be quite different. So I can see why they implement the runes and charms, even though some people don't like it, because it's kind of like a a passive thing where you just put it on and you don't really have like any control over it in a way. But I mean, I can see it as a mechanism in which you can make changes every season without having to change every card again, like what happened from season 1 to season 2. So let's hope that this will basically, well, we'll go into a direction where we'll have a more balanced game, and everyone like just pick their own strategy that like is fun to play and just enjoy playing, and hopefully they can make all different archetypes viable. That's how I see it. Anyway, so this is it for this video. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.